The one person we call crazy, we call a lunatic, we call bipolar, we say he belongs in a mental health institute. Somehow that person is the only person we don't see in these Epstein files. We don't see with nasty allegations towards his name. Now, Jay-Z to me, and here's why I think it's cooked, okay? Even though the allegations are unsubstantiated, because these are just, tips coming through a hotline, fortunately for Jay, the world already wants to believe these allegations. So there's nothing Jay can do to really convince people that he's not guilty. So when your name is wrapped up in these files, kiss your public reputation goodbye, man. Do y'all believe these allegations? Let me know, man.
What did it say Jay-Z did? He was there in 1996?
We are producing more than 3 million pages.
As soon as he was named in the Epstein files, they gonna take all the posts down and everything.
She hashtagged it child predator.
Jay-Z just got caught up and hit with some disgusting allegations tied to the biggest trafficking ring happening right now. Jay-Z, Pusha T, and some very powerful men has just been named in the Epstein files.
It's all a part of this Epstein file. Uncle Luke had Jay-Z on the couch and he had the girls off there freaking off while he was watching and everything. Jay couldn't take his eye off the girls now.
What do you think about Jeffrey
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail operation.
Do you think if she could have the choice between getting what did she get, $50 billion, or not getting the syphilis?
Recent Epstein case documents have reportedly been made public, and they've triggered a fresh wave of attention online and in the media. In that renewed discussion, Jay-Z's name is being mentioned by some commentators and social media users, though much of what's circulating remains speculative. For years, people have debated alleged past associations and industry connections, but the conversation has intensified as audiences wait to see how investigators, authorities, and credible outlets respond when additional material surfaces.
I did the article on this page and wrote the caption, "I know I'm late on this, but this is kind of crazy. What do you do to get thrown into that mix?" And he posted a picture of Jay-Z and wrote the caption, "Damn, they got my man Jay in the Epstein files. I gotta do a doc on this."
Latest tranche of Epstein files from the Department of Justice contains around 3 million documents, thousands of still photographs, and hundreds of hours.
After federal investigators revisited earlier reports related to the Epstein case, anonymous tips were also discussed. Complaints that were reportedly submitted to a federal hotline after Epstein's arrest. One such tip allegedly included claims referencing Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein and placed parts of the story in the 1990s. However, it's important to note that these are unverified submissions and not confirmed findings. And some victims have also publicly suggested that influential people were connected to Epstein's world, which has fueled ongoing media coverage.
With regard to Epstein and some of the celebrity or well-known powerful people who are involved here?
Of course there is.
Absolutely. I'm probably more afraid of the people we don't know about.
Yeah.
The people you don't know about, the people who know that they may be on any kind of list that is...
People who are purposely trying to get that list to stay away or not be on that list. That's.
In many high-profile controversies, public figures are accused of using money, influence, or legal pressure to keep damaging allegations from reaching mainstream attention. Because of that broader context, public scrutiny tends to increase when names appear in newly released files, even if the mention is indirect or unclear. As more Epstein-related materials become available, the public conversation has widened beyond Epstein himself to include questions about power, access, reputation management, and whether any associated names will face deeper examination.
I had 3 victims that I've been working with, victims of the Carters, that were ready to come forward. This might help them feel a little more confident now.
Jaguar Wright has weighed in publicly, arguing that Jay-Z has largely avoided sustained criticism over the years. She has also implied that certain industry insiders may have known about troubling situations while staying silent. In addition, Wright has made pointed statements about Rihanna's early career. including her entry into the industry and the nature of some business arrangements. Those comments have sparked debate online, both with supporters treating them as insider testimony and critics emphasizing that such claims can be sensational and difficult to verify.
So nervous. I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
And you had to sing a cappella for him?
Yes, I had to sing. I sang Fun to Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
So then what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, you did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, this lady.
He said, there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
Wright has further claimed that she witnessed or heard conversations about Rihanna's childhood during the earliest stages of her rise. In her view, Rihanna was sometimes surrounded by powerful adults and professional circles at a young age, and Wright suggests that family oversight may not always have been as tight as people assume. She also argues that as Rihanna's career expanded, the structure around her changed. Management evolved, and guidance increasingly came from business-oriented decision-makers shaping her public direction.
She was a kid at that time, correct?
15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it, and the 6 hours that she spent with him, and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up to the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and
this isn't her life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was
Very
17 is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then
Have
had
you
to
spoken
apologize.
to my friend Jonathan Hay? You should talk to Jonathan.
Please.
Because Jonathan was there. He was right there working with Rihanna. And it was right when they started crafting her to be seen as a brand and commodity only and not a person. And when I talk to Jonathan now, just to hear him when he thinks of his teenage daughters, he was like, Rihanna was the same age my girls are now. I couldn't imagine putting my daughters through what we put her through. And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Palm the Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around? And she's, oh, it's cool, it's cool.
She also referenced Foxy Brown, pointing out that the early experiences of young artists in the music industry are often discussed unevenly. Some stories become widely known, while others remain muted, minimized, or treated as uncomfortable topics. Wright's broader point is that when audiences revisit old eras, especially during major news cycles, public attention can suddenly shift back to past industry dynamics, including how young performers were introduced to powerful networks and what protections did or did not exist.
At 15, 16, 17 years old. She was running all around Philadelphia because Jay-Z promised her that they could be, normal when she wasn't with Corrupt. Corrupt was her fake boyfriend, which is why when they tried to use her to say that she was actually in the car and there with Keepy D and all of that, I'm like, that girl wasn't even there. These women are pawns. Inga Marchand at 14 years old, 14 and a half, going on 15 years old, singing highly explicit and sexually charged, lyrics all written by Sean Carter. What kind of 27-year-old grown man turns a 14, 15-year-old girl virtually into a prostitute and gave her the nickname the Il Nana? No kidding.
Another major theme in Wright's comments is her claim that Jay-Z carefully manages his public identity. She argues that what many fans interpret as perfection may actually be the result of strategic planning, disciplined messaging, and strict control over access and narrative. Online, some people connect that idea to broader themes in the Epstein discussion, where allegations have long centered on manipulation, secrecy, and the control of information, particularly when influential individuals are involved and reputations are treated as assets to be protected.
Son died because he was my son.
He died because of your
He was targeted because he's my son.
He
was working on his EP. I bought Philadelphia for him so he didn't have to sign to a company because I knew what it was going to do. He interned at Roc Nation. And they approached him to sacrifice me. I saw his death when he was 19. I moved us here to stop it, to prevent it, to avoid it. They take them anyway to show you what the harm is. Giovanni, his death is why I do what I do.
At the same time, some people who have accused Jay-Z of wrongdoing in the past have pursued legal action, including lawsuits, which then become part of the wider public debate. When these accusations circulate alongside unrelated Epstein conversations, some audiences attempt to connect them into one larger story, sometimes without clear evidence tying the claims together. Gene Deal has commented publicly on these issues as well, and his remarks have added fuel to online arguments, and creating more controversy than clarity for many viewers.
Told y'all a lot of stories. I told y'all about Jay-Z, how he was, and it ain't no allege. It ain't no allege. These little girls was from our block. These little girls was from our block. Miss Pleasant ran with them. They all ran together and came to parties and shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm gonna let Miss Pleasant, I'm gonna try to talk her into telling that story. So y'all bear with me when she come back. She gonna see this, but I'm letting y'all know. And don't none of you moderators sit up there and text her and try to forewarn her. I'm gonna try to tell her and talk about the situation because it's all a part of this Epstein file. You know, look at that situation when Uncle Luke had Jay-Z on the couch and he had the girls off there freaking off while he was watching and everything. Jay couldn't take his eye off the girls.
According to Gene Deal, the release of Epstein-related documents could create significant pressure for certain well-known names in entertainment, including major music figures. He suggests that stories once dismissed by the public may now be re-examined, not necessarily because new proof has been established, but because the public mood has shifted and people are more willing to question past narratives. Still, this re-examination is not the same as verification, and the difference between revisiting claims and proving them remains crucial.
I know at that time,
right,
when he was messing with old girl,
right,
he had to be
no name.
30 years old.
Oh no, well, he was in his late 20s, almost 30.
No, he was 30. That nigga was 30. I know that nigga was 30 years old. Because I didn't know he was that old.
He used to pull up on the block and pick us up. Like, this is the thing. Like, they were messing with each other. Like, they were locked in for 2 whole years. And...
Well, Jay was locked in with a lot of people because I ain't gonna say that he was trying to get with Sugar.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I could see that. Pretty girl. Yeah.
He was trying to get with Sugar.
I could see that.
And back in the day, I ain't gonna speak on it, but...
but what?
But nothing. Because you ain't gonna speak on your friend, don't speak on my shit.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna tell it.
Because you know I know that you know that I know that I know that you know that I know what you know.
Don't play yourself, all right? All right. So now, what I'm trying to get y'all to see and what I'm trying to get y'all to say, I didn't lie when I told y'all this was messing with young girls.
Yeah, he was.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
I did not lie.
I know this for a fact.
This wasn't no capping the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
You understand? So now when these files come out and they start speaking about these cats and they sexapades and dealing with these young girls.
Gene also describes how powerful families and professional teams often work to defend a public image when allegations emerge. In that telling, attorneys may step in early. Media strategy may be used to limit damage, and silence can function as a tool, whether through pressure, fear of consequences, or contractual mechanisms. He adds that people close to famous individuals may know details, but hesitate to speak publicly. In this discussion, Beyoncé is often mentioned too. The official narrative is that she met Jay-Z at 18. They were friends first, and the relationship developed legally over time. Some insiders, including Gene, have offered alternative interpretations of the early timeline, which keeps debate alive.
First started dating Beyonce at 17, 18, he was 30-something. You didn't know his age. I look back and see how old Jay-Z was. I think Jay-Z was born in like 69 or 67, something like that, 67 right there, 69. I think he was born in 69. Beyonce, they said she was born in 81. You understand? But back then, in 81, when we was in the club together, 98, 99, she wasn't even supposed to be in the club, but she was in the club. It was Club Eugene's, and Jay was dating her. And at that time, if you look at Jay's age, he was about 30 years old. So, isn't she still somewhat a child? To me, she is. But I guess they protect child. That's how you protect a child. You know, dating her at the age of 30-some years old, and she's 17, 18 years old. If that's her true age. We really don't know her true age because Gabrielle Union said she went to junior high school with her, and Gabrielle Union is considered 6-7 years older than Beyonce age that she getting. So we really don't know. You know what I'm saying? But to get back to your letter, I believe that the lawyer was doing what he did, and he threw shade at Puff in the interim of that by saying that all celebrities, you may think all celebrities are alike, you know what I'm saying? He know he's under this situation with Puff. But you gotta look at this right here. They sent him a letter, Busby sent him a letter for 2 reasons, I believe. To open up the floodgate, just like that 1-800 bad boy number did, and people start calling in saying what Puff did to them.
The discussion.
You know how he is. He's like, yo, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Damn.
What I would love is for someone to ask him, like, yo, why would you still do a project with that man, knowing that he gonna leave? That should be the question. Period. It shouldn't be for me. It should be the question posed to him. And I don't give a f about nothing else. But that right there was bridge burnt. But I just was like respecting her, respecting the business. But I was I moved out of Rock. Like if y'all look at, I left Rockefeller. It wasn't that I got kicked out of Rockefeller. I left Rockefeller. You understand what I'm saying? The option was there for me to stay. I did not want no parts of it. I was done. I left Rockware. Think about it, bro. I said, f all the money, all this shit. I'm out. Now think about, a lot of men would not have made that choice. But any real nigga would have to make that choice. I was left no choice. He gave me an offer I could not refuse. Like, we done. You know what I'm saying? You gonna f with this man, you knew he was my girl, you was in love with her. How could you do that? It's obviously you want me to feel away. Like it wasn't enough money for us to do that. So I was done. I thought I was cool about it. Like I was like, I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm just be out. And then I thought I was cool about it. I really did.
So this is after Jay tried to talk to Aaliyah, but she chose you over him.
You know the timeline, bro. We did the project when she died, which was even more disrespectful to me. And I'm not getting no.
Bill Gates is no longer the only person in the spotlight. And there are draft emails among the records that Jeffrey Epstein...
It said that Bill Gates wanted to get from him antibiotics to give to Melinda because he got syphilis or he got something.
Damn.
The clap, chlamydia, whatever he got. He got some sort of an STD from a prostitute.
Do you think if she could have the choice between getting the, what did she get, $50 billion or not getting the syphilis, which
well,
would she
whatever
take?
she got, I bet it wasn't syphilis. It was probably the clap. It was probably chlamydia or something like that.
That's no big deal.
But but who knows if that's true though? Here's the thing, like Epstein clearly was some sort of a blackmailer. And this is an email that Epstein wrote. So it could be complete fiction. Epstein could have wrote that just to put pressure on Bill Gates for some fucking business deal. Like who it knows? He could have spread rumors and then said that he'll squash those rumors. But these guys are dealing in deception and blackmail, and so you can't like assume that it's true.
Think about how many relationships Epstein had and that he was working almost every one of them, leveraging. And
this email here, okay? I just texted it to you. Look at this email here. Zoom in a little bit, Rob, if you could. Thank you. Hey, sent from phone. Unfortunately not. Okay. Unfortunately not. You should make clear that I don't work for Mossad.
Smiley face.
You see it? Yeah. You or I. No, that I don't.
Yes.
Smiley face. So, I mean, look, the claims that he was never part of Mossad or didn't work with them or collaborate with them, if you don't believe he did at this point of the game, you may work for Mossad. You know what I'm saying? That you may be them. By the way,
I don't believe that. No,
yeah. So no, but the point I'm making to you is, guess what Mossad's job is? To gather assets.
Of course.
And guess what CIA's job is?
Same thing.
Guess what MI6's job
Same
is?
thing.
Everyone. Guess what KGB's job is? Every one of these guys that want to go out there, they want to get intel. So this guy was very useful to Mossad.
What do you think about Jeffrey
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail operation. I think that's crystal clear. No question about it. So
tends to be the party guy, just like Diddy.
Drugs,
cameras, drugs.
The CIA, as part of MKO, had Operation Climax, where they would lure Johns in with drugs and props. And then this drunk CIA schmuck would sit on the opposite of a two-way mirror and take notes on what, just evil, wicked stuff. And that's what they're using Epstein for, was blackmail operations. And they got some pretty high-level people snared into that. And they haven't released the entire list of close Epstein confidants, but Israel's former prime minister was one of them. Yes, they got a picture of him visiting Epstein at his New York apartment. And he was well connected to Epstein, but that was all in secret. And that is the intelligence part of Mossad. And of course, they couldn't do that without coordinating with the CIA. So
I ask this question now, the more I learn, there just always seems to be this connection between the CIA and the Mossad. And I'm going, is it just... They're the same organization. I think the more you look back into history, and it's always somehow the CIA and the Mossad is there on the day that JFK gets shot. We learn about like MLK. We learn about 9/11, and then we're just going, okay, why does it seem like there's a union here, a marriage here?
Mossad is like the sister of the CIA. They're joined at the hip, kind of like Siamese twins, and they use each other for intel and operations and things like that. They are extremely close and in an extremely sensitive relationship. Oh, yeah.
And it totally explains what Epstein was doing. And also Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, when he died, and didn't he die rather mysteriously? I'm not sure.
He fell off, he found dead off his yacht floating in the water. They claimed it was a heart attack.
Of course.
Just when he was coming under scrutiny for arms dealing and connections with the CIA and being a Mossad agent, actually a double agent with Mossad and KGB. All of a sudden he's found dead floating next to his yacht, and
happens all the time.
Oh yeah, it's just just one of those things. See what
a ton of Mossad agents, and I think a former prime minister of Israel attended his funeral. So it's like, guys, hey, baby,
it's like,
Elaine.
Some observers argue these controversies are not isolated, but part of a wider ecosystem where influence, control, and secrecy intersect. Others strongly dispute that framing, saying it relies too heavily on inference and internet-driven speculation. What remains clear is that public attention tends to expand rapidly when famous names appear in any high-profile document release, even when the implications are uncertain. Ultimately, careful distinction between allegations, opinions, court filings, and verified facts is essential. How do you view these developments? Share your opinions in the comments.